Good afternoon. We'll call this meeting to order. This is the Planning Commission, New Ulm, Minnesota. It is April 25th, 4:30 PM. Item 1 on the agenda would be to approve the minutes of the March 28th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 3 is a public hearing. 3.1, consider the application of Douglas and Shelley Foster requesting a variance to allow a fence to be located 0 feet from the side property line on the property legally described as the rear half of Lot 7, Block 31, north of Center Street, address 211 9th North.
All right, for a little background on this application, the subject property we're talking about is zoned R2 in the single and two-family residential zoning district. Currently, city code, under the fence regulations, allows or doesn't allow a fence to be closer than 5 feet from an alley right-of-way. With this site, as you can see, the Fosters are proposing to place a chain link fence at that 0 foot setback from the alley side of the property line. The Fosters' property is a half lot, 50 feet deep by 82 feet wide, with an existing accessory structure already currently set back 0 feet from that alley right of way. So the Fosters would be asking to place this chain link fence in line with that existing accessory structure. As you can see, there were a number of variance requests that were similar to this one. Some were approved, some were not approved. But if we go through the attachments here, first we have the variance application. And then we have an aerial photo. And on that aerial photo, you can see the property is outlined in blue, and then in red is approximately where they'd be looking to place that fence. The following attachment is just a zoning map showing it's in the R2 zoning district. And then after that, again, it outlines the property, but then there's a green line in that aerial photo which shows roughly the building line along that alley. And if you continue to go south down that alley, you'll see another shed directly behind Mr. Foster's shed that's also right at that 0 foot setback. And as you continue to go down, you will see 2 more sheds that are also built right at that same setback. After that, it's just a couple more photos from actually on site showing roughly how that fence would look on the property. It's page 15 and 16.
Did we have any written or oral responses with any neighbors concerned for fence?
Not heard anything.
And I guess I'd have a question as far as the distance from the fence to the sidewalk to the street, on the side street. Is that our safe
As you can
corner?
see, there is no sidewalk going across the front of the property. So with the ordinance, it has to be within the property line, so it is staying on the property line
But do
in the
you-
front.
staff thinks would be adequate for visual for,
With a
With
chain link fence, we've got
with
more
the-
than a 50%. Yep.
okay, for the
sight
corner
lines.
rule?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so anybody here that wish to speak on the matter would please come to the podium and state your name and address, so.
How y'all doing? My name is Douglas Foster. Sally Foster is my wife. We live at 211 9th Street North, where we're trying to put this fence up at. Reason being is that we want to try to put a pool in for my wife. She's broke her hip, so it's more or less like an exercise thing for her also. Also, with the fence being up, it's trying to also save other kids from crossing my property line and getting into the swimming pool when I'm not at home, or just getting into my swimming pool, you know. I want that fence to be up so as far as no trespassing on the property, as far as getting over there and having me being responsible for somebody else's kid because I don't have this fence up. So that's just basically about what I was looking for and hoping to get here today.
So the pool that you're talking about, is that above ground, below ground?
Above ground, sir. A 16-foot 16-foot pool, 4 feet high. Just a upper pool, just like I say, just a regular upper pool, so she can get in, walk, swim, her exercise that she usually does daily right about now.
Have you met with anyone relative to what all the regulations are relative to having a pool?
Say that again, sir. I don't.
Have you met with any of the city officials or whatever about the regulations for having a pool?
Yeah, well, I talked to these guys here, John and Mr. Elwood here.
And that's why he's requesting the fence.
Right.
Is for the pool, because it's over the gallonage.
A gallon.
Yep, it's about a little over 6,000 gallons.
Sure.
So we don't have an issue if we approve the fence that later on we have a problem because of the pool?
No, sir.
As in,
Size, depth, whatever?
nope, once we get over that 5,000 gallons, or
Okay.
it's required for a fence to go around it.
Now, on a chain link fence, does that have to be installed by professionals?
There's no
There's no
installation. required.
guidelines on it?
Nope. Just has to be done in a workmanship-like manner.
Anyone else have any questions? Anybody else wish to speak to the audience?
Do we have any fences in the alley and, we've got the other sheds that are obviously right on the lines and everything else, but do we have any other fences that are probably comparable on the same block, probably?
On the same block, no.
Okay. I mean, I don't really see any issue with it, but,
Anyone else? Any questions?
No. Well, you answered my question about why we were using the ordinances for swimming pools.
Thank you.
Well, if not, entertain a motion to close the public hearing and then take action of what your wishes might be.
So move to close the hearing.
In a second.
I'll second that.
I got a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Now, what are your wishes?
I'd make a motion that we accept or recommend that the conditional use be, or the variance be granted.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second recommending approval as requested. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, if I might add that in recommending approval of requests, I think it's important for the Planning Commission to do so based on the criteria found on the back page of the application. And that should really be a standard. If you recommend approval of a variance, that each time you should identify that as the application, meeting the criteria that are listed on that backside.
He just stated it better. That was in my motion. Stated better by Mr. Snowbrick.
I would second that then.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. This will go to the city council meeting, be next week, Tuesday?
No, the following week, so
Following 2 weeks.
May 7th.
Seventh.
Their
Yeah.
meeting would be on a Tuesday then at 4:30, and you should probably stop there.
Okay. Would that be up here or?
That will
Be
be
right
here.
here.
Yep.
Okay. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for
Have a
coming.
great day.
Thanks.
3.2, consider the application of Darren Ziski requesting a variance to allow a 5-foot rear yard and 5-foot side yard setback on the property legally described as, now I lost my place here. Oop. Lost the rest of that motion, so how do we get there, folks? Okay, Darren said for 5-foot yard setback and a 5-foot side yard setback on Lot 10, Block 5, County Club Addition, street address 1721 South Ridge Road. It's gotta say country.
All right, for a little bit of background on this property, the property is presently zoned in the R1 Single Family Residential District. City code requires that in this district that there would be a side yard on each side of a building, each having a width of not less than 10 feet. So that's where the side yard comes into it. And then later on in the code in 9.14, it requires that accessory buildings, that no detached accessory building shall be located within 10 feet of any rear lot line. So that is why Mr. Zeski is requesting a 5-foot variance on both the side yard and the rear yard. As you can see, there have been multiple other variances granted for accessory structures to be closer to the property lines. There are a number listed, and I actually ended the references in 2002. We could have went on for quite some time. Following that is the application with their answers to the variance questions. There is an aerial photo showing the approximate location of the proposed shed in the corner of Mr. Zeski's property. Following that is the zoning map showing the property location in the R1 zoning district. And then again, following that, there's another aerial photo showing approximate building lines in that general vicinity, both going east and west and north and south. And you can see that, let's call it to the north, there's one shed that's built pretty much right on that property line. And then to the east, there are also two sheds that are very close to that property line. Following that, we have a site photo kind of showing the proximity of where that shed would be placed on Mr. Zeski's property. So,
Again, this is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak on this matter, please step to the podium.
Hello, my name's Aaron Ziski. 1721 Southridge Road is my address. So I'm looking for a variance to be able to place this shed closer to the property lines due to the fact that where the house is placed and the backyard is pretty shallow, that this shed doesn't end up being essentially in the middle of my backyard between the property line and the rear of the house. So I was looking at placing it in the back corner without being right on the property lines. To still make it look, nice, keep the yard looking nice and still have some yard left.
How about the neighbors? You're gonna be right up in that corner. You'd be two different property owners, right?
Actually, you got three.
Yeah, there would be,
And they're all aware of what you wanna do, put it in that corner?
I'm not sure about the person who would be at an angle, kitty corner from me. Bev Spoon is to my north, and George Shimley, I believe, is directly behind me, and he is aware and he said more than willing to come down if he had to sign something to say that he has no problem with it. But
And your next door neighbor?
Bev,
She's
yeah,
aware?
Bev, yeah,
That-
Bev
that's
is.
what-
Yeah,
That's the one thing
she's-
I saw, is it's real close to her, that corner of her landscaping.
Yeah,
She's aware.
yeah, she's aware. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But like I say, the lady, I'm not even sure who the couple is that would be kitty corner, but that would be literally just touching the corner of, I mean,
That seems
Yeah.
like they would have the least issue. The
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
Well, my recollection of this whole area, it is a kind of a unique area. It goes around the block, no alleys, And if I remember right, we did approve a shed here not that long ago, actually up along the property line. So,
Yeah, we just did one further up on South Ridge.
yeah. I don't have any more questions if I see anybody else. If not, again, I'd like to close the public hearing and move forward.
Is there any rules and regulations on this type of shed or anything else again? Just so it meets aesthetics, or how's that work for?
For the city, there are no aesthetic rules or regulations on that end of it. It just needs to meet building code and follow the setbacks. I don't know if there's any covenants or anything up there.
Get a motion to close the meeting? Close it.
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. How would you like to proceed?
I'd make a motion to grant the variance with the rules and regulations stated at the city of New Ulm in front of us.
Second.
Okay, again, we have a motion and a second recommending approval of the application. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Again, that'll go to the city council at their next meeting.
Okay, would it be advised for me to be there for, yeah,
It'd be beneficial.
okay,
Any questions that they might have when they start having variances or whatever.
okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Good luck.
I'll see if I can get myself going here again.
Up here to the, right there.
Is that what I want?
That's correct.
Hmm?
Yes.
So we go down to item, so did I skip this one here?
4.4, if you're at 4.1.
We talking about here? Sorry, folks, this is new to me, so bear with me. I just don't even see a 4 on here. Talking about lot 9?
Yeah. For the
Item 4?
plot.
Pardon me?
For the plot.
All right. Next item would be the original plot of the city of New Ulm. Approval of the final plot.
Okay. This particular item concerns the approval of the preliminary and final plat of the 2nd North Street and Linden Street right-of-way. Members of the Planning Commission may remember that approximately, I think, 2 months ago, you made a similar approval of a plat for Cottonwood Street. So this is the same type of request and the same action that's being requested of you. The applicant is the city of New Ulm. The current legal description of this property is the original plat of the city of New Ulm. Lot 8 of the plat of sublot 2 of outlot 249 and sublot 2 of outlot 242 except the northeasterly 15.98 feet and the southeasterly 15.5 feet thereof. Lot 9 of the plat of sublot 2 of outlot 249 and sublot 2 of outlot 242 except the southwesterly 4.02 feet and the southeasterly 15.5 feet thereof. Sublot 1 of outlot 249, Lot A of sublot 1 of outlot 242, a certain easement or cartway 16.5 feet in width and for the length of said outlot 249 along the westerly line of sublot 1 of said outlot 249, and a parcel of land 15.5 feet in width and being part of said outlots 249 and 242. Street addresses of this property are 201 to 211 and 200 to 210 Linden Street, and 1200 to 1308 and 1201 to 1309 Second North Street. Property is zoned R1, which is a single-family residence district. This plat designates the following rights-of-way. So it's Linden Street from Second North Street to the northeast, 159.07 feet. The remainder of Linden Street was platted on June 17, 1941 in the plat of Valley First Edition. And that would be the portion of Linden Street from the alley all the way to 5th North Street. The second right-of-way that's being platted is 2nd North Street from North Garden Street to the northwest, approximately 1,049 feet. The Linden Street property was acquired in September 1951. The 2nd North Street property was acquired in June 1939. The areas used as Linden Street and 2nd North Street were not platted as streets. And so to this day, they are not platted as streets. The width of the streets would be 80 feet. Residential housing abuts both sides of Linden Street. Residential housing abuts the north side of 2nd North Street, and Harmon Park abuts the south side. Attached is a copy of the plat and an aerial photograph. Staff would recommend approval of the preliminary and final plat with no conditions. Since the plat only involves city rights-of-way areas, preliminary and final plat approval are requested at the same time. Then a motion to approve and a motion to deny are also provided. That concludes the staff report.
Okay, thank you. Where would you like to go?
I'll offer motion to recommend approval of the preliminary and final plot of 2nd North Street and Linden Street right-of-way plot.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second recommending the approval. Any further discussion?
I just have a question, being new to this. Dave, what does it, if a street is not platted, what does that mean? Or what is the purpose?
Well, what that means is that the property is still described using the old legal descriptions. And the second thing is that it's not officially a street. You know, it's not public right-of-way. It's right-of-way that's owned by the city, but it's not, doesn't bear that official designation.
Okay.
So this kind of is more of a cleanup type
Right.
of process.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Hearing none. All in favor of aye? Say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Item 5, reports. City council decisions concerning the planning commission matters in April.
Okay, we'll go back to the April 2nd meeting of the city council. At that time, they approved the variance request of Shelley Winter to maintain a 0-foot front yard setback at 1501 North Broadway, and that was to allow the construction of a 20-foot by 20-foot addition at the Dairy Queen. They also approved with 4 conditions the variance request of Nathan Giesecke on behalf of Black Frost Properties to allow 20 off-street parking spaces at 201 First North Street. And that is the proposed location of a distillery. Might note that the council did modify one of the conditions to, I think, if more clearly state what the item or the condition was, and that was at the request of the city attorney. They also approved the recommendation from the Downtown Action Team to create new parking lot signs for downtown lots and rename the lot, or give the lots names. And then they, at that meeting, approved a variety of actions associated with the Renew projects. They also conducted the first consideration of ordinance 19-032, which amended Chapter 9 of the City Code, which is the zoning ordinance, to allow for interim use permits. And the second reading and approval of that ordinance took place at the April 16th meeting. Going back to the April 2nd meeting, it was at that meeting that they selected a new city manager, Chris Dalton. At the April 16th meeting, they had some discussion about a splash pad installation and ended up tabling that request. Park and Recreation Department had recommended, I believe, Harmon Park, but councilors wanted to give that further consideration. They also awarded a street construction contract to MR Paving and Excavating for 5th North Street. That's going to cost $2.6 million. And then they retained a consulting firm named Mead and Hunt to prepare a land use plan in order to allow the installation of storm sewer to serve the National Guard property. And that concludes my report. Although John had some information on the Black Frost variance request and parking.
Sure. So at the last planning commission meeting, there was discussion about getting confirmation on whether or not those public utility or the public utility owned lots across the street would be available for customer parking for Black Frost. We have confirmed that with public utilities that those two lots, one is blacktop and then the other one is right on Valley Street, which is gravel. Those two would be available for customer parking, but on a first come, first served basis. In addition, the PUC is considering also trying to paint some lines on that blacktop lot, and specifically kind of so any traffic would have a better idea of where they can and cannot park on that lot.
That's the shed by the gas department, or?
Correct. Yep.
So the parking areas along Valley Street, first come, first serve means Firmenich employees also have an opportunity to use that parking.
Thank you. Item 5.2, Heritage Preservation Commission activities.
Had no meeting last month.
So nothing to talk about. Anything else that commissioners have? I'll just say thank you for bearing with me today. I didn't do very good on the new kit, but I will do better next time, guaranteed. I'll try to do my homework a little bit better. And thank you for taking care of things while I was gone. And welcome to be back. If there's no further business, the meeting is adjourned.